Truck is going to have a charge line in the 7-way plug there, so whenever you hook this up, that'll also allow the battery to get charged while you're driving.
Okay.
And then also, whenever you're plugged into shore power, that'll also charge the battery for you. So if something happens and your battery starts getting low, you can plug it into the truck. If you're not anywhere, you can plug up to shore power, and then that way it'll charge up your battery for you. Or if you're plugged up while you're camping, when you're plugged up, it'll charge the battery for you as well.
So if we're plugged in, we've got the truck hooked up to it, we're plugged in, are there going to be certain devices in the trailer that will automatically be working because of the battery?
Yeah, so yeah, as long as you have, even if you're not plugged up, as long as if this battery's charged up enough and that disconnect switch is on, stuff in there is going to run. So you'll, like I said, all your lights, you can run your slide in and out on just the battery. All your lights are going to run on the battery.
What about the refrigerator?
The refrigerator is it's on this side, yeah. The refrigerator is a 12-volt fridge, I believe. So it's going to be.
Refrigerator's on the slide
Is
out.
it on the slide out?
I think so.
There's no vent there, so that's going to be a 12-volt fridge, so that's going to run off the battery.
Okay, so by the time we get to the campsite, anything in the refrigerator should be cold.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So a lot of times, rule of thumb is if you're able to, bring the unit the day before. You want to turn it on. There's also an adapter you can plug into just a regular, which you'll get in your starter kit. There's plugged into a regular plug, wall outlet, right? So the day before, if you can bring it home, plug it in, let the refrigerator start running. That way it gets nice and cool, and then that way when you start storing stuff in the fridge, and it's already cold.
Oh, okay.
So then the day you go camping, it's going to continue to run because your battery is running off the battery, and then the battery is going to continue to stay charged because your truck is charging it while you're towing.
Okay.
But yes, so yeah, if you can, you always want to try to get that refrigerator about 24 hours to get cooled down enough to where it's nice and cold.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Let's see, and then now, if something happens and some reason you gotta take that battery out, or you don't have a battery for some reason, as long as you're plugged in, everything inside is gonna work because you got a converter inside that's gonna convert that 110 power, right, the 30 amp power into 12-volt power for your stuff that runs just off of 12-volt. So even as long as you're plugged up, this doesn't even have to be on. It doesn't even have to be there, but that switch, that's what that switch, so if you plugged in and you have that off, your stuff is still going to run inside. So the 30 amp is going to run everything no matter what. Your battery's only going to run your 12-volt stuff.
So if we're camping at a place that has electrical hookup,
yes, sir.
Do we want to unplug that or keep it plugged in?
Off. Yes, sir. Yeah, you can turn it off so it doesn't overcharge, right? If you're there for a long extended time, you definitely want to turn that off so it doesn't overcharge the battery. But if you're only there a couple of days, you can leave it turned on or you can turn it off, just whatever you prefer to do.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it'll continue to charge that battery as long as it's plugged in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. You good up here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We think so.
All right.
Till we get to a campsite, and then we're like, what?
That's why I got everything recorded.
Exactly. So
What did he say?
This here is just a little holder, right? So
Just
hold your chains.
place to store it.
Yeah,
Hold
this will
your chains and hold
come
your-
7-way right in there. So that's
Awesome.
all that does. All right. So once we get here, this is just part of your pass-through storage. Everything's on a magnet, so that's nice. It just sticks right up there. Then you're gonna have.
Is there a lock on this?
There is, yes, ma'am. Yep. So whenever you go, you can lock it with the key on that
Okay,
side,
good.
and then this one just latches it.
Okay, good.
You've also got your stabilizing jacks here. One of those tools over there is also for this side of the jack. If something happens and the electric part of it stops working, that switch on the other side, if it starts working, you can still manually run those up and down as well, just through here.
So there's a switch that will drop those?
Yes, sir. Yep. So on the other side, there'll be a switch, one switch, and you hit that switch, extend, and it'll drop down. So once you get leveled out, then you'll take those and drop them down either on blocks, depending on how far you are, or you can just drop it straight to the ground.
Okay.
And then once you get it leveled out, side to side, front to back, then you can drop these down and just stabilizes the unit so it doesn't rock around when you're walking in it.
Yeah, okay.
So if it's really like right here, I would put blocks here, right? So it doesn't have to go as far down to the ground.
You're right, okay.
In the back, you might not have to because it's a lot closer. So it just depends. So they got leveling blocks you can purchase, or even just regular wooden blocks you can stick under there. Makes it easier. That way those jacks don't have to go so far down.
Okay.
Alrighty. Alright, and then we got your slide here. Main thing about the slide is whenever you go to bring it back in, just make sure there's no debris up top, right? You always want to make sure that's swept off or blowed off. That way there's nothing that gets caught underneath the wiper seals and then affects the sealing portion of it, right? So you always want to make sure that stuff's blowed off. Whether pine cones, pine needles, any little branches or anything like that. And then once you get that all cleared off, then you can go ahead and run the slide in.
How do you get up there?
This one doesn't have a ladder, so you would have to tow the ladder with you. Or if there's, yeah, basically a ladder
Okay.
would be the best way. Yeah, that would
Or
be the
at least
best
a little step stool or something.
Yes,
Is there
yeah.
if the, for instance, let's say the fuse for this burns out, is there a way to get it in?
Yes, ma'am. There will be
Manually?
Yep, there'll be a manual override. I can show you that. It'll be on
Okay.
the other side. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay.
All right. And then here is going to be your sewer connection. So that handle over there is going to be your black tank. So that's only for the toilet. This is going to be your gray tank, which is going to go for your shower, your bathroom shower, and your sink. And then that other handle back here is the valve for your kitchen sink. So you've got 2 gray tanks and 1 black tank.
Okay.
One gray tank is just for the kitchen sink. This gray tank back here is just for your shower and your bathroom sink. And then the black tank is going to be just for the toilet water.
But it all goes into one.
Yes ma'am. Yep, so whenever you pull that valve, whichever valve you pull, it's always going to come out of this opening here. So you always want to make sure when you're hooked up.
Well, I don't know how. Seems like you couldn't close one of those and anything would come out. They'd both have to be open, right?
Well, this is the thing. For this one here, this goes straight and then up. So your gray tank.
Oh,
for the
okay.
bathroom
I
is
see that
right
now.
here.
I didn't
Yes,
see that. Okay.
And then this one's gonna go back behind that T. So,
I got you.
which is for that tank up front.
Okay, so the valve in front is coming from above, and the
Yes,
one
sir.
in the back is coming from that side.
Correct.
I
Yes,
got
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. All right.
I got you. Okay.
Now on the sewer hoses, you get one in your starter kit, but then we've also got, or you can also purchase some from that have like a clear elbow.
Yeah.
So whenever you go to drain it, you can see everything, and then that way you know when everything's cleared out, right?
Okay.
So usually, what the process of draining usually is going to be when you're getting ready to drain it, you'll drain your black tank, open it up. These will still be closed. Open your black tank up, let it drain out. You'll come back. I think you should have a black tank flush, so you'll use that. Turn that on, and then that'll flush out the black tank, which it's got sprayers inside that tank, and it'll help clean the sensors and spray the walls, and then it'll rinse more stuff out of there. So then once you see that stuff start coming out clear, that water coming out clear, you can turn that valve off. Once it drains completely out, you close this valve. Then you can come back, you can open your gray tank for the bathroom, let it drain out. And then of course you'll leave that open, and then open the kitchen sink one, open it up and let it drain out.
While we're camping, these are all going to be open, right?
Hey, you can leave these open, but the black tank always needs to stay closed. So the black tank, you always want that tank to have water in it, to have some
okay.
kind of liquid in there, because if not, then the solids end up getting real dry, and then it's a pain to get that stuff out of there once
Okay.
it gets all dried
Leave
up.
that closed, but we can leave the other.
So
You can
how
leave
does
it
the
open.
black tank get the water in it?
So you can either use the black tank flush to put a little bit of water back into it once you drain it out, or if you flush the toilet about 5 or 6 times, you fill the toilet up, flush it 5 or 6 times, that'll give you enough water in that tank to where it'll have enough in there to slosh around when you're moving, when you're towing it, or if you put it back up to storage, that'll be enough water in there to keep everything from drying out.
So always keep water in it.
You always want to keep water in the black tank. Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
but when we're through camping and we open that valve, it's
Yes.
going to drain that tank, right?
Correct.
So then we got to fill it back up again.
So then you want to put the 5 or 6 flushes of toilet water back in there, or some people carry a 5-gallon bucket and just dump that straight down into the toilet. Or if you use the black tank flush, you can just turn that on, let it fill up a little bit, and then turn it off, and then that'll be enough water.
Okay.
And then that way you always have some kind of water in the tank.
Okay.
But the
I'm
great
obviously
tanks-
going to want to see the tanks, I guess.
Sir?
We can see the tanks. I'm going to want to.
You can see the levels. You can see the tank
Yeah.
level.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, you'll be able to see how full it is. But like I said, as far as for that, for the black tank, if you're gonna go put it back in storage, flushing the toilet 5 or 6 times will be plenty of water. Or it doesn't have to actually show to 1/3 because there's probably about that much distance from the base of the tank up to the actual 1/3 level. So you just want a couple inches of water in there. That way, when you're towing it around, it's sloshing around, or when it's sitting, there's liquid in there to where it's not letting everything dry out.
Okay,
You know
okay.
what I mean? So
Okay.
it's not something that you have to make sure it's at a certain level or so much water in there. It's just as long as there's something in there. You always want to keep some kind of fluid in there.
Is there a product that is good to put in that tank with the water so that it doesn't build up really bad bacteria or start
Yes, sir.
smelling or
Yeah. So
anything?
they make black tank pods. They also make a liquid that you can dump in there. You get a little pouch of black tank pods in your starter kit
Okay.
already. And there's different brands. There's different. What's it called? They have liquids that you can mix, solutions with, and then dump it down in there, and then that's going to help not only with the bacteria in the tank, but it's also going to help with the with breaking the other stuff that's still left in there. It helps break
it down,
even
right?
more.
Okay.
Yes, sir, yeah.
Okay.
Do you do that every time after you camp?
After you camp, yes, ma'am. Yep. So whenever you get ready to go put it back in storage is when you're going to want to do that. So you don't want to do that every time you flush or every
Yeah.
time you have to dump it and start using it again. You don't want to do it then. You want to do it whenever you stick it.
Maybe after we're through camping and we've flushed out the black tank,
Yes, sir.
then we put the water back in it. Go ahead and throw that in.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
that way, when you get ready to use it again, it's ready to go.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And then you got the. Then you're gonna have your 30 amp hook up here. So it's just a twist lock system. So what this is gonna do is gonna twist and then pull out of there. So whenever you're ready to go back in with it, put it in there, twist it back, and that's gonna prevent it from coming out. And then yours has actually got a locking ring on there as well, so it'll lock down onto here also. So
Oh, okay.
it prevents it from coming out of there.
Okay.
So
On accident.
what's your on a surge protector?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there? We Googled them last night,
Right.
and they range anywhere from $39 to $300.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. They
You
get
know,
up there.
it's like
They
crazy.
get up there. Yeah.
I
So
mean, your opinion,
Just
30.
your
40.
basic surge protector is all you just want something just like at your house, the little surge protectors you got at that. You just want something to protect your unit from a power surge.
Okay.
There's a lot of them in there that you can use that have Bluetooth, so you can see everything on your phone. You
We
can,
don't need that fancy.
there's some that are hardwired, so you actually hardwired it in back behind here, straight into the wires, to where you don't have to actually plug it in and unplug it.
Yeah, I saw a video of
there's
a guy
bunch
that
of
did
different
that.
ones, but you do want to try to get something that's going to give you, whenever you plug it into the power source that you're going into, it's going to give you a readout, right, to make sure everything's hooked up right. It's going to show you if everything's correct as far as the wiring itself on the power cord. So like a diagnostic little lights
okay.
on there. You do want to get something like that. I can show you what we have, and then you can take a picture of it, and that way you kind of have an idea of what to look for, right? So
Okay.
Well, we actually ordered one already.
Did you already?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Order one,
just as long as
but-
it's got the light. I mean, if it's got lights on it that shows you, to make sure that it's not wired backwards, or if there's
okay.
one leg dead. It'll show you if one leg is dead. It'll show you different things on
Okay.
there. So as long as you have something like that, you'll be fine. You'll
Well,
be fine.
we got it off of Amazon. We had some points, so we
Yes,
got
sir,
it.
yeah.
I think it was regularly $39, but we got it for like $20.
Yeah,
but it looked like a nice one. I mean,
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can definitely, like I said, just as long as it's basically, you just want to make sure it protects the unit from getting a power surge. Because if you get a power surge in that thing, it can burn up your TV, it can burn up your microwave, it'll burn up
Yeah,
your
yeah,
burner,
yeah,
it'll
we-
burn all that stuff up.
yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
For,
Yes, ma'am.
for
Yeah.
$30 or even $300, it's worth it.
Correct. All right, and then back here you're gonna have cable satellite inputs. So if you're able to hook up to cable or satellite, you'll just hook those coax cables into that. This is going to be your city water connection. So if you get to a campsite and have water hookups, you'll take your water hose from the water hookup and hook it straight to here. And as soon as you turn that on, you'll get water straight into the unit. So you won't have to use the water pump whenever you're on city side. So the only time you're going to use the water pump is if you have to tote water with you and run it out of the fresh tank, right? There's a holding tank in here that holds water for you if you're going boondocking or you're going somewhere that doesn't have a water source to hook up to. So anytime you hook up the city side, you don't use the water pump.
Boondocking, does that just mean out in the boondocks?
That
In
just
the
means
boondocks.
out
In the boondocks.
No water, no electricity.
No electricity, yeah.
No.
I love it. Boondocking. Good Cajun
Out
term.
with Mother Nature, that's it. That there's your black tank flush. So that's what I was talking about. Whenever you get ready to drain that black tank, you'll drain that black tank. You'll take a separate water hose, not the one you use for your city side. You're gonna take a whole separate one and hook it up to here, right? And then once you turn that on, that's gonna have the sprayers inside that tank wash that stuff out, run it out the sewer hose, and then once it gets done, starts going clear, then that's when you can turn this one off. Then you can go ahead and let that finish draining out, and then once that's done draining, then you can close that black valve. So anytime you get ready to take off or go back to storage, you always want to use the black tank flush. You don't have to do it every time you drain the black tank if you're at a campsite longer than, but to where you have to drain it more than once. But anytime you get ready to take off, you always want to use
Let's
this.
say you're
Black
living
tank
for a week.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
often do you have to push?
That's all going to depend on how much
often
you
you're
use it. Yeah.
okay.
So it varies. And again, you'll be able to see in the sensors how full it is.
Oh, yeah, that was going to be the next
okay.
question. Is
Yeah,
how you
so
know
we
when it's
got the
full.
sensor.
Yeah, you got sensors inside to let you know how
So
full
it'll
those
tell
tanks are.
Shitter's full.
Yeah. Or if the gray tank's full, you'll know the gray tank's full too because it'll start coming up out of the shower, right? So
Oh,
you take a
okay.
shower and it's not draining, you know that joker's full.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll just.
I think he's messing with a dog.
Oh, it's a dog.
I think so, yeah.
And then it's pre-wired for a rear camera. So if you end up looking into that, that's going to have just 4 screws on the bottom of that plate there. The camera will plug right into a plug that's there, and then as soon as you plug it into that, then you'll go ahead and put the 4 screws back in it, and then whenever you turn your running lights on, you have a monitor that'll go inside the truck and you'll be able to see everything that's behind you. So you can use it while you're towing it, you can use it while you're backing up. But the only time it gets its power though is going to be whenever you have these lights on.
Well, man,
it's
how
not
does
like
how
a
does it hook to your truck so you can see it in your truck?
It's all wireless, so it'll hook up a cigarette lighter. So it plugs into your cigarette lighter, and then it's all wireless to.
Well, I mean, is there a monitor or two
Yes,
for
sir,
inside
yeah.
the truck?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it doesn't work in the camera in your truck?
No,
There's a separate monitor. You're
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct. So that'll run straight to that monitor there that you have.
I gotcha.
Mounted to either the dash or it goes on the windshield as well.
Okay.
So, alrighty,
Okay.
good here.
Good here.
All right. Moving along to here. So these are going to be those switches for the jacks, right? Your stabilizing jacks. So you got one here for the rear, and then you'll have another one up there for the front. So this is just going to be its skin.
Oh, wow.
You just hold that down. It'll come down once it hits the ground.
Aren't you glad you don't have to stand here and go?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Or even use the drill. That's what I was
The
expecting.
drill, yeah.
Awesome.
Put a little bit of pressure on it like that, and then they'll stop it.
Okay.
So they're not made to actually like level the unit out, right? Or if you get a flat tire, they're not made to lift
Yeah,
the unit
just
up.
stabilize it.
Just to stabilize
Yeah.
it. Yes, sir. Yep. Alrighty.
Okay. You
And
got them on the front and back.
front and back, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yep. So like I said, once you get leveled out, you always want to level out side to side first. So you'll always want to level side to side before you unhook from your tow vehicle. Because if you actually have to drive up on something to make it level, then you don't want to have to hook all back up again in order to do that, right? So you'll level side to side. Once you level out side to side, then you can go ahead and unhook from the truck, and then you'll level front to back.
Well, how do you level side to side?
So there's levels that they make. You can use a regular straight level, or there's little.
But I mean, if you're not level, what do you do?
So they make little blocks, or you can drive up on pieces of wood, and you just got to drive up on something.
Or
Oh,
that
okay.
rocking
Yeah.
thing, that rocking thing that has the.
Well, that one there, I think is more for, they make those to actually change the tire. So if you have a dual axle, you'll drive up on whichever tire needs to be changed out, you'll drive up with the other one, and it lifts up the rear one. So they make that, but they do make them to where the blocks are like little Lego blocks, right? And you can just drive up onto them. You can step them up, or you can use one and drive up.
Well, let's
on
say
it.
you're on a slope and you stick them and drive up on them you drive your wheels up on them on one side to level it out.
Yes, sir.
And it's still off level just a little bit, but another block is going to throw it way too off.
Right. So if that happens, then all you got, a lot of times whenever you throw these stabilizing jacks down, it'll move it just enough to where it'll level out.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
It's going to be pretty much leveled out. It doesn't have to be 100%, 100%. A lot of times, as far as for the leveling, it's going to be so your AC will drain off right? So it drains correctly. If you were to have a refrigerator that's propane, you always want it leveled out. That way that flame goes straight up and it's not angled to one. But yours is a 12-volt fridge, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
But the leveling is mainly going to be so everything drains off correctly, right?
Okay.
So-
I got you.
But even if it's just a tad bit off, I mean, if it's going to be just a little bit off, then you're not going to have to worry about it.
I think we should get those things, the ones that stick to the camper. You can put one on the side and one on the front.
Yes, ma'am.
And they
Yeah.
were fairly cheap.
Yeah,
They're
you can use
low
those as well.
levels.
So leveling it front to back is just with the jack that's in the front there?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
That's all you'll do for that thing there. Now, a lot of times what you want to do is have another block up front to where you're not having to run that jack all the way down. Or if you got to come up so high to where it doesn't reach the end of the stroke, right? You got enough leg to actually go up high enough. So, again, those leveling blocks, they're good for that. Or you can just use 2x4s or one big cedar block or whatever just to put underneath the tongue there. You can
Okay.
use that as well. All right. Let's see. This is going to be your fresh tank fill. So anytime you get ready to use the fresh tank and you need to fill it up, this is where you're going to fill it from. So all you do is just take your water hose, open this up, stick it in there, turn the water hose on, let it fill up.
So if we're like camping somewhere that doesn't have
Yes,
water
ma'am.
hookups, that's what we want
Yes,
to do.
ma'am. Yep,
Okay.
you'll want to do that before you get there. And that way you have water whenever you get there. And then you use the water pump. You turn that on, that'll give you water throughout the whole unit.
Okay.
So even if we're going to know we're going to have water hookup, it's a good idea to just go ahead and put some water in that and use some of that? Or don't do it?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
Just for the simple fact is that you don't want water just sitting in there, right? So,
Oh, okay.
I mean, unless you think that you're going to have to use it, I wouldn't. Because not only
Okay.
that, then you got weight, extra weight, right? You're going to have extra weight to tow with. And
Okay.
Yeah,
It's gonna
that's-
just.
So
add
only
weight.
use it if we don't have water hookup.
If you know you're not going to have any water. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
When you're filling it up, how do you know when it's full? When it starts coming back out?
of here.
Simple. Once it starts coming
But
out.
you also have a sensor in there as well. So.
How much does it hold?
I think it's going to be probably about, I think it's like 38 gallons, 36 to 38 gallons is what those
Oh, wow,
tanks
that's a lot.
hold. So they hold quite a bit. Now, if you do have to use that, then you do have a fresh tank drain right here. So that valve there, you're going to just pull that, and that'll drain that whole fresh tank for you.
Oh, okay.
So that's what that's for.
Okay.
So
Alrighty?
if we don't use all the water while we're camping.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you can drain it out of there. What you'll want to drain it, you don't want water sitting in there because it'll end up staling out, and then you'll have nasty water in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Outdoor speakers here. This is a cable output, so if you are hooked to cable over there, you can have cable out here as well.
In case you want to put a TV out here or
Yes,
something?
yeah, the TV
Okay.
outside. This is just the 110 plug for that, or for anything you want to use a 110 for. This is your furnace exhaust and intake, so anytime you use the heater, this is where the hot air is going to come out through as well, right? So if you have kids around, just make sure they don't touch this because it gets pretty warm. Then you've got your stovetop vent there, so if you use the vent that's above the stove, you'll want to come out here and open this up, and that way it vents out, and then whenever you're done with it, you can just push it back and it clicks back into place where it doesn't let any bugs or anything in there.
Okay.
This is going to be your water heater. The water heater is going to be propane or electric. Okay, so you've got switches for that inside as well to choose which one you want. If you have the propane on, the propane side, as soon as you turn that on, the switch on for propane, this is your igniter. It'll start allowing gas to come in, and then your igniter is going to click, click, click until it lights up, and then once it lights up,
automatically ignite.
yes, ma'am. Yep, it'll do it
Okay.
by itself, and then that way it'll start heating up your water for you.
So if we're somewhere where we have electricity, we don't want to use the propane.
You want to use the electric side?
Oh, you would?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do we
It'll do inside. Inside you got
It's inside.
yes, ma'am. Everything's
Okay.
inside. So you
Okay.
don't. The only time you ever have to worry about coming out here to do anything here is if you're going to drain the water heater. So if you're going to drain the water heater, this is your pressure relief valve. You'll open that up, pull that lever out. It'll open up, shoot out a bunch of water and pressure. Then you'll take an 1 16 socket and replace this, or take out that anode rod. When you take that out, that'll drain that water heater completely.
Okay.
So the only time you really want to do that is if you're going to put it up for storage a long time, or if a hard freeze is coming, you'll want to drain that out as well, so the water doesn't crack that tank, freeze up and crack your tank.
Okay. Is there water in there now? Or
Yes, sir.
no?
Yeah. There's water in there now. So we have water in there because we test water. We test everything with the water pump, make sure everything works. So there's water in here. There's water in your fresh tank. So before you leave, if you want, we can drain that out. If you're going to take it straight to storage, if you want, we can drain this out for you as well. But you just got to make sure you have something to put that rod back in there. So it's an 1 16 socket is what you need to put that back in there.
Okay, so well, yeah, I mean, we're going to be taking it straight to a storage when we're done here.
Okay.
We are going to use it next weekend, but there could be times it may sit for a couple months before it gets used.
Yeah, if you're gonna use it next weekend, you can leave that in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that won't be a problem. That way, whenever you get there, as soon as you hook up to the water source, you'll have water ready to go. Now, if you drain this and you go to use it, as soon as you hook up your waters to the city side, as soon as you turn that on, what it's going to do is it's going to start filling this up first. So you won't have any pressure inside just yet until this gets full. And then once this gets full, then you'll get water out.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So
okay.
if you ever drain this, you got to make sure this gets filled up first before you turn your electric side of the water heater on, because you don't want to burn that heating element up, right? If it's dry, it's going to burn that up. So you always want to make sure that's full. And to check it, just open your faucet, hot side. Once you start getting water coming out of there, then you know you're full.
Okay.
It'll shoot a bunch of air out. Or you can come out here. If you're out here already and you want to check it, you just pull this. The water pump's not on, but you'll pull this, and then that'll shoot water out, and then that'll let you know there's water in there as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And what is the thing on the bottom?
This here?
No, this.
That's anode rod. So what that is, that actually acts like a water heater at the house. It actually attracts all the minerals. Will attack that rod. It's a magnesium rod, and it'll attack that stuff instead of attacking your tank and rusting out your tank.
Okay.
So over time that disintegrates, right? So it gets smaller and smaller. It starts out about that big and it starts getting smaller and smaller. I'll show you what they look like inside. But over time you'll want to change that out.
But that's also how you drain it?
That's also how you drain it. Yes,
Okay. So just take that off and let the water drain out.
Correct.
And then put it back in.
Correct.
Okay.
And then as soon as you hook up, it'll start filling that
So what
up.
is the rule of thumb about how long it's going to sit to determine whether you should drain it or not?
If it's gonna sit longer than a month before you use it again, I would definitely take that out and drain it, because even though you're not using it with that rod just sitting in there, it's still gonna
Probably better just to drain it every time we take it to the storage lot, because we're never going to know exactly how long it's going to be before we use it again.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can do that as well.
They're upgraded Ceros in there, and then the battery in the battery box, right? Or just the battery?
Oh, I didn't know.